Alright, so we might as well continue the collection video series thing with another relatively short part of the collection, and this one's short for fairly obvious reasons. It's a fairly recent purchase, about a year or so ago, and well, it involves this thing. This is a Sega 32X. It's what you put on top of your Sega Genesis or Sega Mega Drive or equivalent Sega Genesis device, like the CDX or something, which is what I generally use. Excuse me. Sega 32X, a 32-bit enhancement for the console. Needed another power adapter, needed another little wire cable thing, which is really important, because otherwise the 32X doesn't work properly. Was released around the same time as Sega's Saturn, which you can imagine how much fun 32X owners had when they found out they could have gotten a new machine all the same or something. But yeah, kind of a flop, kind of a failure, but it has its moments, I guess, or something. I don't know. I guess I'm supposed to say that to be impartial or something. Truth is, I don't have that many 32X games. I think most of the 32X stuff I got came with the system, and the rest I got, or something, I guess. I don't recall. But in any event, we'll blow through the 32X games rather quickly. First off, we have Knuckles Chaotix. Fun times had by all, I guess. Virtua Fighter. And to tell you how much of a flop the 32X is, they released the first Virtua Fighter for the 32X, and then they released a version of Virtua Fighter 2 for the Sega Genesis without the 32X. So make of that what you will. Although this one is probably the better game, I guess. Metalhead, which is sort of like a mechish, first-person type of game, third-person type of game. It's been a while since I last touched this, so I may be fuzzy on the details. Cosmic Carnage, the inspiration for Mark Bussler's Lord Carnage gimmick in the classic game room. Probably not as good as the guy makes it out to be, but like any subpar fighting game, if you have a bunch of friends over, you could probably have a good time with it all the same. Motocross Championship, no funds to be had with this one. That's the subject of a future video. Next up we have Virtua Racing Deluxe. Because of paying $100 for a Sega Genesis cartridge that only had 3 tracks wasn't value enough for you. This one has 2 extra tracks and probably played a little better. But then again, I've never been a big fan of Virtua Racing, so I'm probably not the best person to judge. But it is what it is. We got Star Wars Arcade, which is actually a port of an actual game called Star Wars Arcade that was released in the 90s. And I'm not talking the Star Wars trilogy thing or the Star Wars Arcade from Atari that most people are probably familiar with. Now, there was another Star Wars Arcade game that I never knew about. I thought this was like, they called it Star Wars Arcade for the lulz, but there was an actual Star Wars Arcade game. Didn't like this one as much. I thought it was alright for a rail shooter type, but not as big a fan of this as I thought I would have been. Instead, I got Shadow Squadron, which is a much better game, and probably the game that I wish this game thing was, but Shadow Squadron is probably one of the better, as far as the 32X library goes, probably the best game on the 32X that I've got, at least. Some people could point out differently, but this is all I have on the 32X, so this gets the vote by default, if nothing else. And finally we have Doom. See, I told you it'd be short. In under 5 minutes. So that's my 32X collection. That's all there is to it. Thanks for watching. Till next time, take care. Good night. And yeah, whatever. Later.